As you get closer to retirement, you really need to start to reevaluate how your money that you have saved for retirement is positioned or invested, because as you get closer to retirement, you're getting closer to that time where you're going to start doing the complete opposite as to what you were doing previously. You'll no longer be putting money in, you'll be pulling money out. And intuitively, it just makes sense that if you're going to start doing the complete opposite of what you were doing, then your investment strategy better shift and change to adapt to what you're going to be doing in the future in retirement. And like I said, that's pulling money out instead of putting money in. My name is Spencer Ford, wealth advisor and CEO of Conservative Financial Solutions, as well as a certified financial planning professional. And let's hop into today's video. As I mentioned, the closer you get to retirement, you really want to start to evaluate how your investment strategy needs to change now that you're no longer going to be putting money in, you're going to be pulling money out. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Because the thing you need to realize is that when you get to retirement, you may have done a really good job of saving up a nice pile of money for yourself, but you don't live off an account balance. You live off the income that it can produce for you, and that account balance needs to last the rest of your life and potentially even beyond if you have goals that go beyond just your natural life expectancy. So when it comes to investing money in retirement, we want to talk about the three attributes of money. Now, the first attribute is really quite simple. Why do any of us choose to invest our money to begin with? Well, we want it to grow, and that's the first attribute of money. And this is really the only attribute that you're worried about when you're saving for retirement. This is the money that you put on the highway, on the open road. You want it to go as long as possible, as fast as possible, so it can grow as much as possible. But as you get closer to retirement, there's, for most families, just this intuitive bell that goes off that says, you know what? There's probably some things that I might need to change now that I'm getting closer to retirement. And that's when you start to become concerned, or you start thinking about the other two attributes. And that second attribute is safety. And that's where you begin to ask the questions of, hey, if the market starts to decline, if the economy takes a dip, how much could I lose? Could I lose it all? How safe is my money? When we think about investing here at Conservative Financial Solutions, especially when it comes to retirement, there's something that we call the retirement danger zone. So that is the 5 years leading up to the time that you plan to retire and the first 5 years in retirement. It is during this 10-year period, more than any other 10-year period, that you can't afford to lose big. If you take a big loss the 5 years leading up to retirement, it can mean delaying retirement until your assets recover. So not an ideal situation. Why would you want to delay retirement? And if you take a big loss the first 5 years in retirement, then statistically, you've just dramatically increased the probability that you may run out of money before you run out of life. And both of these things are avoidable if you have the proper plan going in and you're paying attention to this second attribute of safety. This is the school zone, so this is with the yellow flashing lights. You're still growing, you're still making progress and moving forward, but you're just checking around to make sure that everyone's okay. The third attribute is liquidity, or we'll also refer to this as the attribute of income, because like I mentioned, you don't live off an account balance, you live off the income that it produces for you. So this is where you start to ask the questions, and you need to answer the questions. What are my sources of income? How long are they going to last me? Are they going to keep up with inflation or not keep up with inflation? What are some things that can derail that income source for me? And the way that you change, or the way that you make sure that your account balance becomes an income stream that you can't outlive, is by making sure that you find the right balance for you of all three attributes of money in retirement. And that's what we try and help, that's what we specialize in helping families achieve for them based on their unique circumstances. And I know it'd be nice to give you a blend of, hey, this is exactly what you should do, but that's simply not able to happen, because it's going to come down to your collective life expectancies if you're married, the other sources of income that you have, what you have done to save for retirement, what's your goals in retirement. If you have goals outside of just simply making sure that you don't outlive your money, maybe there's travel goals, maybe there's goals that you have for funding different things for family members and so forth. And as well as a whole host of other factors goes into what is the right balance for you. The other thing that I want you to be aware of, and why this is so important, is When you start taking income in retirement, and this is just for those of you who like looking at the math a little bit more deeply, if you aren't taking income and you experience a 20% decline in the market, then it takes about a 25% increase in order to break even again. But if you experience a 20% decline and you are taking income in retirement, then over the course of 5 years, as you continue to take that income, it would take a gain of 62% just to break even again. And that's because you're taking the income out in those years in which your asset, in which your investment is recovering. So you're taking away from that recovery each year that that asset's trying to recover. So not to alarm you, but is it possible to experience a large enough decline in retirement that you never have the ability to recuperate? Yes, and that's why making sure that you have some money in all three attributes is so important. And that's where especially that safety piece and that income piece, maybe positioning a portion of the money that has a guaranteed income stream for you, really comes into play. The other thing that I want you to know about the three attributes of money, and we'll wrap up with this, is their relationship to one another. So typically, the further you push towards one attribute, the further away that you're going to push from the other two attributes. So let me give you a really easy example. Let's take growth. Think of a growth company, just a growth stock. This is a company that's probably not going to pay a dividend or income to you, so you're going to miss out on some liquidity or income there because they want to reinvest that money back into the company so they can grow as much as possible, as fast as possible. And they also tend to be the most risky or the least safe. So if you push towards growth, you might have to push away or give up a little bit of safety and income or liquidity. The same is true if you push towards safety, then you may have to give up some growth potential and maybe even some liquidity or income. And that's why finding that balance is so important. It's imperative that a retirement plan incorporates all three attributes of investing to make sure that you have the retirement that you want to have, that you have peace of mind of knowing that when everything's going to heck in a handbasket, if the market is taking a decline, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, that you still have a solid place to go to turn for income. You still need growth, absolutely you do, because you still need to outpace inflation, you still need to outpace taxes, healthcare expenses, as well as other things, but you want to make sure that you have these other two aspects locked in once you start getting to that 5-year time frame before retirement, and certainly while you're in retirement. So thanks for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please hit subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.